So did any of you actually know of Lost in Space before
Oh, yeah.
this? Okay.
Yeah.
I did.
Like the 60s version or like the 1998 movie with Gary Oldman?
60s.
Okay.
Both, but 60s.
You guys are much more in the pop culture know than my children.
Yeah. How did you guys find out about this series, this old TV series?
My dad watched it.
Okay.
He was a big fan of it. He watched it in the morning on the weekends. And so when I first auditioned for it, he freaked out. So that's kind of how I got introduced to Lost in Space. And then I went back and watched it all. Well, not all of it, but the first season.
And what did you think about it, about the old version?
It's so funny. I mean, the family dynamic is just to compare it to what we have now. It's interesting, but I mean, yeah, you see how much they love each other, and it's funny to compare what the technology was and how they thought the future was going to be like in the 60s in 1997, and you could never predict technology, of course, and so yes. Funny to see their take on what the future would have looked like.
I first found out about Lost in Space. It was I had just got home from school, and I walked into my mom's room to find where she was, and I saw this script on her dresser, and I was reading, and I was like, "Wow, this is really cool." I was like, "This Will Robinson kid." I was like, "This kid's pretty cool," and I walked over to my mom and said, "What's this? What's this?" And she says, "Well, that's an audition I was going to have you do, but it takes you away from home too long." And I was like, "I have to do this." So we taped it, and I went in to LA to do a callback. And I found out about it actually at a premiere of one of my movies.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. At TIFF.
Like it's no big deal, just a tip.
Get a move into it.
Did you watch the old show? Like,
Yeah, I did watch the old show. I actually am in contact with Bill Mooney. Yeah, we've been texting, and he's super nice. I'm so thankful that I get to play Will Robinson, and I have very big shoes to fill.
What does he tell you? Is he giving you advice?
Yeah, he's been giving me advice. We actually have been talking about music more than anything because we both love music, and I'm writing a song about Pete Seeger, and we really bonded over Pete Seeger. I actually share a birthday with Pete Seeger.
So how is the relationship in between the Robinson siblings? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I play the eldest Robinson child. We're all pretty close. We obviously have, normal family bickering.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
We have a very interesting dynamic between the siblings. We kind of have different personalities that work so well together. And I mean, being the middle child, I'm always stuck in between everybody else. It's kind of either the too responsible or not responsible enough, and getting to see how everybody in the family bonds and everybody works together. It's beautiful, but especially in the siblings, it's this level of trust that is so beautiful.
And we really we operate as a family in the show, but we also operate as a family outside of the show. I mean, me and Mina go to school together. We
spend 99.99999% of our time together.
We do operate. All of us operate like brother and sisters.
So they were telling us a little while ago that Judy's a doctor, and your character is the communications officer, but you're like 18 in the show, and you're like 15. So what? Like, how does that? How are you a doctor at 18? Like, are you guys just genius, like prodigy children, and that's why you get to go on this mission?
I mean, yeah, I guess you could say in a way, yes. I think anybody who gets to go into space is probably
is recognized
very
for being
smart.
skilled at something, or recognized for their abilities in general.
Because the way they select people to go to the Resolute is based off of their intellect and their ability to create a new world, to farm, to be a doctor, to be a geologist. And the Robinsons, the entire Robinson family, each has their own skill set that they bring to the table. And they operate as one unit, but they all have their own skill sets. And you could say that the Robinson children are definitely prodigies.
And that's also what makes us all so perfect together. It's like a perfect puzzle because you have Maureen that is science. She's everything that has to do with science. And then you have John, who's the more physical, and he's the push, right? He's everything strong. And then you have Judy, who's the doctor, and Penny, who's more reading and communications and loves language and art. And then you have Will, he's everything.
Yeah. Will's a geologist. He collects rocks and studies how they work in the planet. And work.
Your cap is reminding me, obviously, in the original series.
Yeah.
Will's got this bond with the robot.
Yeah.
Is that something that happens in this series as well?
The bond between Will and the robot is very much here. But the bond it's special. They're best friends. They learn from each other. They depend on each other. Because Will, he didn't have many friends back on Earth, but when he met the robot, everything changed. It made his whole world better.
Have you watched the Iron Giant movie?
Yes, one of my favorites, actually. You could say that the relationship is a lot like that.
Okay.
Did that bond take a long time to cultivate, or is it kind of an instant those two meet and it's kind of like bound?
It took a little bit to understand each other, but throughout the series you really see that their friendship is really important to them.
Everything we've really talked to about with the production designer, we got to watch you guys film a little bit, and talking to the parents. There was a lot of talk about Will's relationship with his father is kind of strained, but we didn't really get to talk about what it's like for the girls, because y'all are a little bit older, and teenage girls are in a very different position with their fathers than, say, a 12-year-old boy. Like, what is that like to have your dad come back in after being gone for a while and suddenly being like, I'm dad, and I'm going to tell you what to do, and you're like, no, I'm a doctor. Like,
You can't tell me nothing. I mean, to his, he's not a very bossy father, to boost him up a little bit. It's definitely strained. I mean, if you're gone for a long time and you come back in and there's been relationships that you've missed out on and a lot of time that's passed and moments that you haven't been a part of, and that's difficult. With Judy and her father, they were very close, and she loves him very much, and that is her dad. So, yeah, there's obviously a lot of hurt. I think that's natural. Throughout the series, you kind of see that relationship change, and you shift, as most relationships do. And
same for Penny, or is it a little bit different?
It is. I think it might be a little bit different, honestly, because it's. If you think about a bit of an age difference, the 3 years that it is, 2 years, 3 years, it doesn't seem like a lot, but for the development and the relationships that you end up missing, it is crucial.
Yeah.
And there's also that connection of being my father versus being a dad. You know, there's a different bond. But even in that, I think there's definitely hurt that comes from it. But we, as we evolve, the relationship gets only stronger, and there's so much love that it cancels everything else out.
When John does come back, it's a bit of a shocker to everyone, and I know you've heard a lot about it. But the relationship between Will and John is strained, but Will really does want his father back, and John wants to connect with Will, but they keep on doing this because they don't. Will isn't the most physical kid. he's not what you would say the star athlete of 6th grade. But he's not the one to make the football team or the soccer team. But he cares about his dad, and he wants his dad there. And he's always wanted his dad there. He's just never had his dad there. So when his dad comes back, it's a shocker. He loves it, but it's not all what he was expecting.
I guess that's awkward for the dad then to be like the military guy in like this family of super smart like science nerds.
John is smart, but it is awkward for him to come back. But, let's not sell that short. But as the series goes on, you do understand that everyone's trying to connect with John, and everyone's trying to get back to what they used to have. And throughout the series, they try and rekindle that relationship.
Sorry, we have time for one more question.
What's the most exciting day of filming you've had so far? Is there one that particularly stands out?
One of the most exciting? That's a hard one.
I don't want to step in. I got to drive that thing. That was pretty freaking cool.
Most exciting day. Whoa. I mean, we've had a lot of exciting days, especially with this one around. But the most exciting day was probably when I got to meet the robot. I'll just leave it at that.
I just had my most exciting day on Monday. And it was, I can't really tell you, I guess, maybe what happened. But it was, I guess, the equivalent of, like, riding to prom and sticking out of the limo at the top, but, like, in space and yeah. That's all I'm gonna say. But
It's amazing.
it's but not at all. But like, yeah. But kind of, sort of. If going to prom was like going to kick ass.
So who's the boy? You never told me about
there's
boy.
no boy. There's no boy.
It's the robot.
No, it's not. I promise.
You're dating my best friend?
No, I'm not. What? No, it's gross.
I'm not going to do that.
Taking care of your sisters.
Taking care of his sisters. Okay.
Very good.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.